The moment you start defending yourself, you've already surrendered power. Think about it. Every time you rush to explain, justify, or prove your innocence, you are silently accepting that someone else has the authority to judge you. And that is exactly what Niccolò Machiavelli understood centuries ago. Power is not about being right. Power is about controlling perception. Today I'm going to show you why defending yourself weakens your position, and the strategic power move you should use instead. Point 1. Defending yourself signals lower status. Imagine this. In a meeting in London, your colleague subtly says, "I'm not sure Daniel handled that project efficiently." Immediately, Daniel starts explaining. He lists his hours. He justifies his decisions. He tries to prove his effort. What happened in that moment? Daniel unknowingly accepted the accusation as valid enough to respond to. Psychologically, when you defend yourself, you step into a reactive position. You are no longer the authority. You are the defendant. Machiavelli observed rulers who lost influence the moment they tried too hard to justify themselves to critics. A prince who explains too much looks uncertain, and uncertainty invites attack. High-status individuals don't rush to defend. Why? Because defense implies vulnerability. It implies the accusation hit something. Powerful people understand this. If you react emotionally, you validate the attack. Silence, on the other hand, creates ambiguity, and ambiguity creates psychological pressure on the accuser. When you stop defending, you subtly communicate, "I am not threatened," and that unsettles people more than any argument ever could. Point 2. The power move, strategic indifference. So what should you do instead? Strategic indifference, not weakness, not passivity, but controlled, deliberate non-reaction. Picture this. In New York, someone says to Michael, "I heard you're difficult to work with." Instead of defending himself, Michael pauses. He looks at them calmly and says, "That's interesting." And then he changes the topic. No explanation. No emotional shift. What happens next? The accuser feels exposed. They expected resistance. They prepared for debate, but they got nothing. This creates cognitive dissonance. When someone attacks, they anticipate friction. When they receive calm detachment instead, their brain starts doubting its own aggression. Machiavellian psychology teaches that control of emotion equals control of power. If you do not defend, you force the other person to either escalate, which makes them look irrational, or retreat. Either way, you win without fighting. Strategic indifference is not about ignoring truth. It's about choosing when engagement serves you, and most of the time it doesn't. Point 3. Let reputation defend you. Machiavelli wrote extensively about reputation. A ruler's image mattered more than endless explanations. If you constantly explain yourself, you weaken your mystique. Consider a scenario in Manchester. Olivia spreads a subtle rumor about Sarah being unreliable. If Sarah runs around clarifying to everyone, she amplifies the rumor. She keeps it alive. But if Sarah continues performing at a high level, calmly, consistently, something powerful happens. Over time, reality contradicts the accusation, and the rumor dies on its own. Your actions are louder than your explanations. When you defend yourself verbally, you engage in short-term damage control. When you let your competence speak, you build long-term dominance. Powerful individuals invest in reputation, not reaction. If someone accuses you falsely, ask yourself, is my track record strong enough to outlive this? If yes, silence is your weapon. If no, improve privately, not defensively. Explaining is noise. Consistency is proof. Point 4. Redirect the frame. Sometimes silence isn't enough. Sometimes you need to subtly shift the frame. Here's the advanced move. When someone attacks your character, instead of defending, question the premise calmly. In Sydney, imagine James hears, "You're too quiet. You don't contribute enough." Instead of defending, he responds, "Do you think being loud equals being effective?" Now the focus shifts. He didn't defend. He reframed. The accuser is now the one explaining. This is classic Machiavellian strategy. Control the narrative. When you accept someone's frame, you fight on their battlefield. When you question it, you pull them into yours. The key is composure. No anger. No sarcasm. Just calm curiosity. This move signals confidence and forces the other person to justify themselves. And most people crumble when they're the ones being examined. Point 5. Emotional discipline is ultimate power. The reason most people defend themselves is ego. The need to be understood. the need to be seen as good, the fear of misjudgment, but power requires emotional discipline. Machiavelli understood that leaders who controlled their emotions controlled outcomes. If someone criticizes you unfairly and you remain calm, you display inner stability. That stability communicates strength. In Los Angeles, a confident man doesn't panic when misunderstood. He knows his value is not determined by one opinion. In Toronto, a powerful woman doesn't rush to explain herself at every whisper. She moves strategically. The more emotionally disciplined you are, the less controllable you become. And when people realize they cannot provoke you, they lose leverage over you. This is the real power move. Not aggression, not dominance, control. If you're starting to see how power is less about force and more about emotional control, make sure you subscribe and stay with this channel, because most people will never understand these dynamics. And that's exactly why they remain powerless. Remember this. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. The one who refuses to defend. The one who controls his reaction. The one who lets silence create pressure. That is the person who commands the room without speaking. Stop defending yourself. Let them doubt. Let them wonder. Let your composure do the talking. Because in the game of power, reaction is surrender, but restraint is dominance.